Have you ever wondered how to start a YouTube art channel? I'm going to talk about that right now. Hi, this is Marshall Lee of DonkeyJawProjects.com, and this is my YouTube channel, Marsh Makes Comics, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this probably pretty close to the beginning of YouTube. I think I was maybe a couple years shy of that, or 1 year, or something like that. But at first my channel started as a music channel, then turned into art sort of channel, and went through a lot of different phases. But now it's focused on comics pretty firmly. That's what I want to do with my life, so that's what I'm doing. So today I wanted to talk about some basic beginners kind of guide to um, creating a YouTube art channel. A lot of my friends are comic creators, and that's obviously what I am. But this also applies to really any YouTube channel, but to a lot of art channels specifically. Um, and I think it's a really good idea to start one. So let's talk about a little bit why to start a YouTube art channel. So, a lot of us people who are artists, a lot of times we kind of make our stuff at home and we're kind of by ourselves, and we don't get out a lot, especially if we have like really big art goals. We have to spend a lot of time at the art desk. And then, we think about, okay, well, maybe we could kind of promote our stuff on social media. Um, maybe we could do something on YouTube. I see a lot of some of my favorite artists on YouTube and stuff like that. But it's always kind of like daunting to think, oh man, am I going to be able to talk on camera, all this kind of stuff? Well, there's ways around all of that stuff, or ways to kind of warm up to that kind of stuff. Uh, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And this is going to be a bit of a series, so stay tuned to my channel. If you're new, feel free to definitely subscribe, and you'll get some more of these YouTube tips as I go forth, because it's something I've spent a lot of time researching and learning about, and I'm excited to really make YouTube a huge part of what I do. It already is a huge part of what I do, but I want it to become bigger. So we're working on that. But why YouTube? Why would you even choose YouTube? Well, the thing is YouTube rocks, video rocks. Like it's just a great platform. One of the things in like marketing, and obviously, like, as much as artists don't like to think about marketing or whatever, um, you know, art is something you make, and then when you put it out there, nobody's ever going to see it. It gets frustrating if you're an artist and you're trying to share your stuff and nobody ever sees it. So you got to learn a little bit of business, a little bit of marketing if you want to make something substantial about it. In fact, I'd say you have to learn a lot of both of those things if you really want to make it happen. But it's not hard. It's just like learning how to do your art. It's a very, very creative avenue to go. People don't realize, but business and marketing are very creative industries if you do it right. Let's see. So the thing is video just rocks. Like, there's always been books, there's always been blogs. Well, as long as the internet's been around, there's always been blogs. There's always been some kind of written form of content. There's also always been things like radio, podcasts. There's been audio. All those things are great. If you feel like you're good at making those kind of things more than like video or whatever, go ahead. You can do a lot with those things. But when it comes down to it, video's kind of always been king. Once TV kind of came out and movies came out, it kind of blew the others out of the water. Um, it just is what it is. People see a face and hear a voice. They see different visuals. It's just there's something about moving visuals with audio that just it hits people really well. It just really connects with people more than other things a lot of times. I mean, I'm not saying you can't get, I mean, there's kind of the argument of like the novel was better than the movie, and there's truth to that because you can get into much better detail and really get the feel of certain things to a certain extent. But movies kind of have a shortcut to that with like music and stuff, and there's good and bad things for all of it. But the thing is YouTube, I mean, video has always been something that stands out, kind of. And also, if you're trying to build an audience and stuff, and you're trying to build something where you sell your art or whatever, or your comics, um, one of the big things that marketers would say is you need to get people to know, like, and trust you. And there's nothing better to get them to do that than being your authentic self in front of a camera talking to them. It just works. I mean, I've seen it so many times. People who I've followed for a while, and then they create a YouTube channel, and I start to see them and see what they're actually like, and see them talk and stuff. And I feel like I know them so much better when they start a YouTube channel. I saw that with Scott Circlin. I knew him long before he started his YouTube channel, and now I'm friends with him. But back then I was friends with him too, to a certain degree, but I didn't really know him. He was kind of just a name, and I knew what he was about, and I liked his comics. I bought his comics and stuff, and we had some conversations here and there in like forums and stuff. But now that I see what he's like, I see what his personality's like, I know who he is, I even more have a connection with him, and so that's really cool. So and we've done a couple collabs together and stuff, so it's been really cool. When should you start your YouTube channel? If you really want to start a YouTube channel, if it's been you've been thinking about it a long time, kind of putting it around in your head, and you just think it's a good idea, but maybe you have a few hang-ups, things you're not sure about, the best time to start is right now. And that's probably a predictable thing for me. I'm always going to say start now with whatever you do, but there really is it's important to kind of start. If you have something that you're pretty sure you want to do, start now. The worst thing that can happen is you do a bunch of videos and you find out that you don't really like it, and then that's good. That means you've checked that off the list, and you can go forth with something else and do a really awesome job at it. But it's good to just start right now, because first of all, you need the practice. You're not going to be amazing out of the gate, most likely, unless you've had other experience doing these kinds of things. I'm still learning. Every single video I try to either level up or learn new things. I mean, I'll probably talk about some other reasons why things kind of fluctuate at some point, but you know, it's just always good to start right away as soon as you can, because there's a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work to get to the point where you're doing, the videos that you really want to create. So you got to kind of practice a few things. How to do it, or actually, I should say, what topics or what will you do on your YouTube channel? Well, with an art YouTube channel, what you would probably do, there's a few things that are typical, and these are great things to start with, and to make your whole channel about, actually. The thing is you want to be entertaining with whatever it is you do. So that's just kind of a little quick tip. But here's 4 different things you can kind of do that a lot of art YouTubers do. Topics are a great way to do it. I've watched a lot of people do the 100 Days of Making Comics challenge, and I've done the 100 Days of Making Comics challenge. It's a great challenge. I recommend it to anybody who wants to get going on their comic. But I've done it in the past where it wasn't, it's just me saying, oh, hey, I did this, this, and this today, and this was some of my struggles and stuff. That's great. That's a cool way to do it. But one great way to kind of get a lot of traction, start to get traction with your videos, is to do topics. And I saw one group of people, actually, they do a YouTube channel, McKay and Gray. It's and they're a couple, and they both make comics together. And if you look in their feed in early 2018, really throughout all of 2018, they did 100 days of making comics, and each day they didn't say it wasn't like 100 days of making comics day one, like that type of thing. That's what is typical. That what we typically do. They just made each video for each day an actual topic, and they talked about it, and their channel blew up because of it, because they were just simply talking about topics, and they had experience and were able to help people. Now, you don't even need to have like a ton of experience. Just show people, talk about to people about things you know. So any kind of topics, it really doesn't matter. I mean, most people focus on like art topics and things related to their craft, but you don't even have to talk about that. You can talk about any kind of topic. So topics are great, but then just show your art while you're doing it. So you know, challenges. There's tons of art challenges out there that you can see channels like you know, ZHC, uh, Draw with Jazza, Bailey J, just so many. There's so many art. What is it? Draw with Waffles. There's just so many great YouTubers out there doing art challenges. A lot of times, sometimes they make them up. Sometimes, you know, they'll do like the one marker challenge and stuff like that, or the one line challenge, or all kinds of different things. Um, and that's something I want to do more of, actually. I want to do more challenges, but I'm kind of doing them in a way with comics instead. Um, so, you know, that's a great way to go. It's entertaining type of content. People, it's fun content to make. It takes some work sometimes, depending on how you do it. And I don't know, it's just a fun way to go about YouTube if you're interested, and it doesn't distract you from what you need to do. Stories is another big one. You know, there's a lot of story animation channels nowadays, story time animation channels. That's always a great, anything involving story. You don't have to do story time animation. That probably takes a long time. You can do that. Some people, I'm noticing some comic channels starting to incorporate a little bit of that animated, like very limited style animation into their channels. I've been thinking about possibly introducing some of that as well, but just haven't gotten to trying it yet. Um, but you don't have to do animation. You can still do any kind of story content that you want will be helpful. Just do an illustration and tell a story while you're doing it or something. You know, however you want to do it. Story is just a big thing that always draws people in. Vlogs and kind of just journaling your process and stuff. I've done a ton of this. This has probably been the main thing that I've done on my channel. I have a series that I do right now called the Working Artist Vlog, and it just takes my stories from my daily stories from me trying to make comics every day, and puts them into a video. And sometimes I do it daily. I'd love to do it daily, and I can do it daily, but I don't know if I'm bothering people doing it daily because it's not like the most big quality thing, but people do enjoy it. So I don't know. I'm still kind of debating on doing it daily or every other day or every few days or whatever. So we'll see how that evolves, you know. So those are 4 different things you can do: topics, challenges, stories, vlogs. There's many other things you could do. Actually, you know, you could do reviews of tools that you work with your art. That those actually sometimes become your biggest videos. And if you like to do that kind of thing, I think that's a great thing. You could do a studio tour. There's a lot of things, sketchbook tours. Some of these are more one-off things. You'll start to see if you watch other YouTube art channels, other things you can do. And those are great ways to mix things up too if you don't want your channel to always be one thing. But it is good to have a focus in your channel, some kind of focus. For me, it's comics. You know, for you, it could be something totally different, you know. How to do it? Well, this is going to get into some best practices, but first of all, I wanted to 2 kind of tips is start with what you have. You know, don't try to get too fancy. And honestly, even as you get bigger and bigger, you know, you might add a few like lighting things and a few you know, better cameras maybe. I still do everything on my phone, and I have like over 700 videos, and my channel's growing. You can grow your channel and have always do it for the rest of your life with your phone and have a big channel if you do it right. I don't know if I'll always use my phone. It's just most convenient, and it's what I have. So and it's got a great camera on it. Or right now I'm using my laptop for live streams at the moment, so I do that too. So and another thing is create a format. It's always great, like if you can kind of it helps you to stay consistent if you create like a certain format that you do. So every time you do a video, it's like, you know, maybe you do like an intro, talk about something, then you show some art, and then you kind of end with another thing where you're just kind of summing it all up. You know, that's a great way to go. It's very simple. You know, there's a lot of different formats. Look for formats of your favorite YouTubers and kind of steal their format, but do it your own way. You know, maybe switch a couple things up, or just, you know, maybe they talk really energetic and you're more relaxed or something. That's kind of how I tend to be. You know, there's different ways of approaching all kinds of different things, but if you have like a format, once you get set in that groove of doing that format, it'll help you to consistently put out videos instead of thinking, how am I going to do this video each time you do it, which is kind of what I do, and it's frustrating. But I do kind of have a very basic, loose format that I do kind of follow. It's kind of like the intro, the main content, and the outro. That's always a great format, but you know, there's ways to make that even more structured, you know, so, you know, think about that. Okay, so then I wanted to get into best practices. These are the basics. Again, this is your beginner guide of YouTube. I'm going to go into a lot more detail of a lot of different things that can even boost your YouTube way more. But these are, if you get these 3 best practices down, you're going to be already ahead of a lot of people, because I see so many people not doing these things. And when you don't do these things, it really hurts your progress. It's like you're doing the work, but you're not getting the reward that you should be getting. And it's frustrating for me to see, because I know they could be doing so much better just by changing these simple things. So 3 best practices to doing your YouTube channel. And it seems so basic and simple and like, duh, yeah, of course, but so many people don't do it. Number 1, title, description, and tags. Now, you can go deep into how to optimize these things and make them amazing and blah, blah, blah. We will probably talk about that on this channel, but just doing these well in a very basic way will help your channel so much. I see so many people put videos up, and it's hard for me to watch them because I don't know what it's about, because the title doesn't have any description of what it's about. And it's like, even though I like that channel and want to watch it, it's hard for me to click on it because I don't know what it's about. And sometimes if they're talking about something I'm not interested in, I might not want to waste my time watching that specific video. So, you know, in your title, put what it's about right there, right in the beginning. You know, don't make it, because sometimes there's like 2 or 3 parts to a title. You know, it's good to kind of keep it simple, I think, but sometimes it's good to put a couple parts or whatever. Put the main thing that it's about right in front and center, the first thing, you know. So if you're making you know, a video about how to lay out a comic page, write it in there. How to lay out a comic page or something, you know, whatever it is. And then in the description, you should write at least a little paragraph or so of a description. At the very least, write the title, what you wrote in the title. Write a 1 sentence saying, in this video, I'm going to talk about how to lay out a comic page in, you know, Clip Studio Paint or wherever you're going to do it, or, you know, and you can just at least have like that, and then maybe a couple links or whatever to whatever you're, first of all, that's another thing in descriptions. Please put links to what you talked about. A lot of people say, I'll put a link in the description, and then you go to the description, no link. Or even if you don't say, I'm going to put a link in the description, at least have links to your, if you have a website or your social media stuff, because a lot of times I'll go to videos and watch them and I'm like, oh, I want to see if they have an Instagram, and they probably do have an Instagram, but they don't put a link to the Instagram and or their website, or maybe I even curious to buy something. People do look in the description if they want to find out more about you. If you're not putting any links in there, you're missing out on an opportunity. You can even link to other videos, which is another great, that's actually a great strategy for YouTube, because YouTube wants people to stay on YouTube. So if you do that, it'll help you do better in the algorithm. But that's like a more advanced thing. So title, make sure you title it what it's about, description, and then tags. You also want to tag the thing that is in the title. You want to hit the title, description, and this isn't the 3 best practices. I still have 2 more. This is just one best practice. Title, description, and tags should at least have like that key. They call it a keyword. So how to lay out a comic page or whatever. That should be, that phrase should be in the title, the description, and the tags. You can put other things in the tags related to what you're talking about in the video. Now, don't put anything, don't try to do like all this stuff that doesn't relate to your video just to get clicks, because that'll actually hurt your video. YouTube just, the whole point of this is so that you can tell YouTube where to put your video in search. It'll categorize it in that area, so when people go searching for that term, now your video may or may not pop up. And a lot of times you'll be surprised, you might pop up for things. I'll get into ranking and SEO and stuff eventually more, but just by doing this simple thing, you don't even have to do keyword research, which that's a good thing to do, but just when you're starting out your YouTube channel, you don't necessarily need to worry about that. Just by having a clear topic throughout those 3 things, title, description, and tag, you can do better than many YouTubers out there who are trying, and they're wondering why they're not getting any traction, and it's because of this. Number 2, now this might be the most important thing on YouTube if you want to do well. I mean, if you do this well, but you don't do the title, description, and tags well, I don't know how much it'll work. But if you got the basics down with that and you do this well, it's the thumbnails. You got to get a good thumbnail. Now, us as artists, we study design, we study art, we study things that make images look awesome. And you want to take that kind of knowledge and make your thumbnail. Now, it doesn't have to be super, it can be very simple. I mean, I make videos on a daily basis sometimes, and I still make good YouTube thumbnails. It's not hard. I have an app that I use. It's literally an app called Thumbnail Maker or something like that. And I just plug in my picture, put some text on it, and keep the text very simple. Like, if you can, keep it to 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, and that's it. 1 font, sometimes you can do more, but just make sure it looks good in design, and make sure that people can read it if it's very small. It has to be very readable, very small, and it has to be appealing, something that will cause people to want to click on it. Being artists, we have actually an advantage in this area because we already, think visually and think about these design elements. So use that knowledge to make your thumbnail. Don't spend forever on your thumbnail, but spend enough time to make it look nice and appealing. And another quick tip with thumbnails is don't make it red and white, because the YouTube website is red and white. Even if you could do stuff that's contrasting those colors, that would be good. But if you do it red and white, then you're blending right in with YouTube, and it won't stand out on the page. So use, so a lot of times people have a color theme, like I'm trying to make my color theme like this blue and orange. I just started thinking about this, but mostly orange is the real thing, because that's my favorite color. I like that color. It makes sense to me, and I like the kind of contrasting blue to kind of will be there too. It's not this kind of blue. It's like a lighter blue that I like to use. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my thing. And then being consistent with uploads. Now, people talk about consistency on YouTube, and there is an argument for you can make evergreen content, which is content that's highly searchable, and that doesn't necessarily mean you don't necessarily have to be consistent with that. There are strategies on YouTube that don't require consistency, but for the most part, it's a good practice to be consistent, and it's good to have 2 or more videos a week if you can. I know that's asking a lot. um, you know, one video kind of, you can still build one video, but it's just going to take a long time if you do one video a week. But you should at least have one video a week at the very least. If you really, I mean, you don't have to do any of that consistency stuff if you just want to be on YouTube and have a presence for the people you already have a little bit of an audience for. Like, you don't have to, but if you really want to be a YouTuber that grows, pretty well, it's good to be consistent. Back in the days, one video a week worked perfectly fine, but nowadays you need more content. It'd be better to have more content. Really, the more the better. If you could put out 2 YouTube videos a day, that would be great. There's nothing wrong with that. But, we're artists and we need to also have time to make our art, right? So that doesn't seem too realistic, does it? Anyways, but it is possible to do daily videos, and people who have done like challenges like the 100 days of making comics, or 90 days of this, or 30 days of that, it's great to do a challenge like that to get into the routine and get some good content on rolling on your channel. And I've noticed whenever I've done 100 days of making comics or any of these daily challenges, my channel grows in subscribers. So that's a great way to do it. And especially if you're doing these best practices, the title, description, tags, and good thumbnails, and you do 100 days of making comics, like I said, McKay and Gray, I mean, one part of why they succeeded too is they'd never stopped. They kept making videos on a pretty daily basis. And they were topic driven, and they're still doing it to this day, but they're kind of mixing it up a little bit, doing some different things. But if you can do a video about a topic for 90 days, 100 days, 30 days even straight, you are going to help. That's definitely going to boost your channel. And also with thumbnails, one other thing I'm noticing that a lot of people, they have kind of a thumbnail format. Don't make it too heavy-handed. You want something new and fresh each time. And if your thumbnail looks almost identical every single time you upload, people aren't going to be able to know that there's a difference between whatever video from one video to the next. And it's just not going to be, I don't know, it's less interesting to click on it. It just kind of goes by. It's like, oh, I've seen that before. You don't pay attention to it. You want your videos to look, there can be, like, I put my little DJP in the corner. I like to just have a little bit of a watermark, just something so it's my video, but I want the actual thumbnail to like have a nice, distinct, appealing thing that goes with whatever topic it is that I'm talking about, and really kind of hits you right there. Like, this video is about this, and the thumbnail looks cool, so the video is probably cool. So that's kind of what I go for. I'm going to probably do a whole video on thumbnails, on all of these things at some point in the future. So let me know if you have any questions about YouTube, what kind of videos covering an art YouTube channel you'd like me to cover. Let me know in the comments and the description. This is a live video, and I have chat open, but I actually have to get going here. So unfortunately, what I'll do, I will look at the chat after the fact, and I will respond to I'll see if there's something I need to respond to. I'll probably make a video about it or talk about it in another video soon coming. So stay tuned. There's going to be more stuff like this, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, and if you're planning to do a YouTube channel as well. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you on the next episode. All right, peace out.